Welcome back to another video, everybody. Today I'm going to show you 5 tips that I use that can help you build better wainscot. And make sure you stay till the end for the last tip. It's the one that's going to give you the most professional look, and it's the one I see used the least. Tip number 1 is to plan your layout. I know this sounds basic, like a no-brainer, but hear me out. If you don't take the time to plan your layout, you're going to end up with situations like this, and like this, and like this. How I go about planning any layout is I first sketch everything out on a piece of paper. I get the dimension of the wall, how tall we want the wainscot to be, where light switches are, where outlets land, or even vents. Once I have the sketch down, it's just a rough sketch, I then take that to the computer. The computer allows me to make quick iterations and get a variety of different designs that best fit that wall. So once I have a design that I like that's in the computer, it now has all the dimensions I need to go ahead and get the project started. The second tip I want to talk about is how you handle the base. With a lot of wainscot installs that I see a lot of just basic base moldings like this with the stiles placed directly on top, and this is what dies into the floor. What I suggest instead is to move this piece up and actually layer another piece of 1x or your base that you already have in your home at the bottom of it. It creates more depth and just a more interesting look. And you don't just have to use 1x if you don't want to. I like to use it because it matches the rest of the wall. But let's say you have base that runs throughout your house that looks more like this. Well, as long as you move this piece up enough to leave a consistent reveal that matches the width of your style, it's going to give you a much more professional look. Step number 3 is all about pinch dogs. When installing wainscot, you're going to have these joints that come together like this called a butt joint. In order for these to not separate over time, you're going to want to glue those joints. But in order to glue those joints and have the glue successfully hold, you need what's called clamping pressure. And that's where these come in. By nailing these into both pieces of wood, they're angled on each side so that it draws them closer together the further they go in. So nailing these in pulls this together, applies the clamping pressure you need for that glue to then join these two pieces together. That's going to be a much stronger joint, and it's going to last over time. I see a lot of DIY wainscot where they don't use something like this. They just nail it to the wall. Half the time it doesn't hit a stud, and it's just nails going into drywall. And this wood's going to move seasonally. So when you paint over this, no matter how well you get it together, if there's not glue in there and you don't apply pressure, it's not going to bond. This is not something that's difficult to use, it's not expensive, and all you need is a hammer to install them. Step 4 is all about making sure that your joints are nice and flush. So once you're done with all of this stuff, I suggest a sander. A random orbit sander will make sure that these come out perfectly flush. Don't be afraid to sand through the primer. If you do have primed wood, you're going to go ahead and paint over it anyway. But a good sanding will make sure that these are perfectly flush. My 5th and final tip to give you more professional looking wainscot is to introduce something called hardboard. This introduces a new texture that isn't your drywall, that's probably been painted a few times. It's going to match what's above and what's below. Even if you paint over it, it's still going to have that texture. So this is used to kind of get rid of that texture and to match the texture of your 1x material. You can either install it the way that I have it right here, which is just inside of your openings, or you can actually go ahead and install it with the 1x material over top of it. You just have to make sure that your gaps in your paneling land right where your stiles run. And that's it. Those are my tips to give you more professional looking wainscot that's going to hold up over time. Nothing that I showed you requires any specialty tools. I guess you could kind of call these a specialty tool, but anybody can use these. If you can hammer in a nail, you can hammer in these. And once more, you can find the link to these in the description down below. They come in a 2-inch and a 1.5 inch. They're reasonably inexpensive, I think 20 bucks for each one. I think they come with about 10. And these are what's going to take your job to the next level. So as always, if you like this video, please do not hesitate to hit that thumbs up button. And if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. See? Is that good? The reveal between your base and the top of your bottom wains rail. Damn it. Professional look. Make sure that you're really enough off of the wall. Oh.